Hello and welcome to another episode of In Defense Of. In this episode, I'll be putting up a defense for Logan Paul. Now, don't get me wrong, Logan Paul has a past filled with sometimes legitimately bad or obnoxious behavior, and that, for understandable reasons, causes people to get swept into viewing any of his actions in a less charitable light. But just because I understand why people judge him more harshly than anybody else, or aren't willing to give him an inch of charitability, doesn't mean I think it's right. And in this video, I'll go over some of those examples. I will even divulge in a time in which I was swept up in the fuck Logan Paul mindset and criticized him for something I wouldn't have criticized many other people for. In February of 2018, just a month after the Suicide Forest fiasco, Logan Paul got into some trouble for tasing two dead rats in a YouTube video.
You're right. Here, no rat comes into my house without getting tased.
God!
Die!
No, he's already dead.
Get him!
Now, everyone was understandably in a fuck Logan Paul mood from the Suicide Forest video a month prior, and because both of these controversies included dead things, it caused people, in my opinion, to wrongly connect them in some way. I remember being outraged about this, because I had already hated him from the whole Suicide Forest disaster. This, in my mind, was another thing for me to latch onto in why I thought he should be destroyed as an individual. But then one thing that's going to sound very random crossed my mind. Filthy Frank. Back in those days, Filthy Frank was one of my favorite content creators, and something that was mildly common in his videos was humor involving dead rats.
Take a look at its face. You can tell it really had a horrible death.
Look at the flick of the wrist. Look at the flick of the wrist.
Got the broth, you can cover it with a little bit of broth. You know, you gotta tenderize the meat, it's like Kobe beef. And that also makes it look, you can't look into its eyes anymore because it's covered, so you can't see the demonic, and you don't have to feel guilty about yourself. Now we can look at the quesadilla, right? A little salt on there, it's gonna look good. This is a real 5-star meal right here, let it soak.
I will admit, I was a bit more of an edgelord back in the day, but the thought of Filthy Frank immediately outlined an inconsistency in what I was willing to judge Logan for, but wouldn't judge Filthy Frank for. Which meant that I was either judging Logan too harshly for something I shouldn't have, or was giving Filthy Frank a pass for something that he should have been criticized for. I ultimately came down on the side of Logan not being in the wrong for two reasons. One, the rats were already dead, so he wasn't causing any unnecessary suffering to them. And two, I truly believe that anyone who isn't a vegan, myself included, that speaks out against this is a major fucking hypocrite. I mean really, I'm fine with hundreds of millions of animals being slaughtered every day. Why the hell would I give a shit if some dude bro tases two already dead rats? Now, many people have an issue with it because they view it as being disrespectful to the rats' corpses. But just think about the society we live in. It is totally normal and fine for us to set up little death traps that slam tiny metal bars into the rat's skull and neck. But if someone disrespects a dead rat, oh god, the world is ending. In early 2019, Logan Paul jokingly said the following.
So it's male only March. We're gonna attempt to go gay for just 1 month.
For one
Oh,
month,
damn.
and then swing, and then go back.
That's crazy. But yeah, coach. So
That to me is one of those jokes that make you lightly exhale out of your nose. That's about it. But tons of people not only A, thought that Logan legitimately held the belief that being gay was a choice, or that his joke would lead to people believing that, but they also try to guilt and bully him with the higher murder and suicide rates in the gay community. First of all, I don't understand how people honestly believe that Logan Paul thinks that being gay is a choice. The entire point of the joke is the absurdity of insinuating that one can just choose to be gay for a month. That's the fucking joke, that you clearly can't just choose to be gay for a month. Like, imagine if I were to jokingly say, man, I'm really busy next month. I'm just going to sleep the rest of this month so I can stay up all of next month. Not a very funny joke, but a joke nonetheless. Imagine I were to say that and someone were to stop me and say, actually, humans can't do that. I would say, yeah, no fucking shit. That's the joke. It hinges on people knowing that I can't just sleep the rest of this month to avoid future sleep. The same way Logan's joke hinges on people knowing that you can't just choose to be gay. And on the topic of people bringing up murder and suicide rates, it was a lighthearted joke, not malicious in any way. If people make jokes about gay people dying, you can bring those things up. Logan's corny joke isn't contributing to any of that shit. And I personally don't want to live in a world where if someone makes a lighthearted joke about a dog, someone sticks their head from around the corner and says, "Did you know thousands of dogs are abused every year?" The joke had nothing to do with that, and you know it had nothing to do with that. Just stop it. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? I want to hear everyone's perspectives. Bye for now.